is our opportunity to do that, to bring you to the table.
From a hearing in a Southwest Detroit gym about air and water quality, to a UAW picket line in Romulus,
how's it going?
to listening to each story and some advice.
You all start with values and what's right, and then you can move to strategy. If you start coming home every single week, grounds me. It reminds me of why I even ran in the first place. And the district, common theme is don't sell us out.
Well, I would love to work with you when you do get there.
This is who Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is to her constituents in the 13th Congressional District, which stretches from Detroit to downriver. A freshman representative who has arguably become one of the more well-known voices in Congress finds herself having to explain inside the Beltway what drives her passion.
From when we were at your victory party back in November, could you have imagined how this was going to go 8 months now into the job? Is this what you thought it would be?
No, it's so much more different than that. I mean, I think my residents are the same. Their issues are the same. My passion is the same. But, I mean, it's still surreal to me every time I walk onto the United States, House floor. My father only had 4th grade education, my mother 8th grade education. And here I am, the first in the family to graduate from high school and college. But I'm there. And not only that, I mean, I think so many people see the national, narrative about me, but it's what's lacking, I think, is I'm so much more just a Muslim and a Palestinian woman, but I'm also this girl that grew up in Southwest Detroit that's got a little grit, and a little fight in her.
Is it hard to have that dual narrative of what maybe Washington, D.C. or national media perception is of you versus what the perception is of you at home and people who know Rashida Tlaib? Has that worked in your favor, or has that negatively impacted what you've been able to do or attention to bring to the 13th?
Yeah, I mean, the 4 neighborhood services I created within, 6 months of me being in office has really been kind of the heart and soul of my public service. The American story that you haven't heard is my district is the 3rd poorest congressional district in the country. And they elected me because I was different, not because of my background.
Do you think you have changed the conversation about women in power, especially given the women and the attention that you've received in Congress and the squad label of you and some of your other freshman colleagues? Are you tired of that label yet, or is it okay to still keep pushing forward with that?
Well, personally, my original squad is the 13th district. And I tell them all the time, I said, this is my squad. And the squad is so much bigger than just us 4. But what I love about us 4 is we all, many of us didn't really know each other until we got there, but it was our shared values. And organically, everybody on the outside did it. It's anybody that believes in equitable justice. It's anybody that believes that people have to breathe clean air. Then you're part of the squad. That you're part of people that want to serve in Congress unapologetically, fighting for issues that I feel like has been not as at the forefront as it should be.
Were you happy with the turnout today?
Oh, it's excellent.
Because I feel like you see some of the same usual people who are advocating for
No,
for
I
clean air and
saw
water,
a
but
ton
there
of
were
new
a lot
folks. It was great, yeah.
Some people told me it was the first time that
Yeah, they've kept
they
well,
came
so
today.
we intentionally sent out a little postcard to let people know. I really want to change people's interaction with Congress. I feel like they wait until, they're voting on something that I'm like, no, be at the beginning of us shaping the policy.
Be part of it
Yeah,
along
show
the
them
way.
how government is supposed to be an extension of them. They're supposed to be about people. We got to move. How many times do we need to study the fact that we're dying? We don't need that anymore.
What are some of the conversations that you have with people?
No, I get a commonality is water is a human right. You make sure you say that, Rashida, because I have a right to drink clean water. They're living this experience now, and they just want to feel heard and believed.
How do you tell them then to trust government when a lot of people have absolutely no faith that you guys can't agree on anything in Washington or get anything done?
Yeah, and I'm one of them, even though I'm there. I always remind my residents that transformative change on civil rights, transformative change even on getting women access to vote, didn't happen in the halls of Congress or in the White House. It happened because of the consciousness in the streets, the movement work in the streets.
Where's the common ground then? Because you can have all of these stances and ideas and even push through certain policies, but if you don't get agreement on the other side, if you don't have any Republican buy-in, where do we end up?
Yeah, we have to continue putting forward what it used to, what the system and how broken it is, right? That's the one thing that came during committee. You'll hear some of my colleagues on the other side say, yeah, it is broken. I said, well, let's fix it together, because there are immigrants right now, literally my immigrant neighbors, who are married to U.S. citizens, for years have been here, and they can't adjust their status here. Or the dreamers. A wall's not going to do it. And until, I mean, that's the one thing that they agree, at least. They're like, nope, we know the wall's fake, but they won't publicly say it. You know, the political courage that's lacking when it comes to the immigration issue is very prevalent.
And have you paid attention to the president's comments?
No, while he tweets, I work, so that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you.
We've danced around the name, but we haven't quite said it yet, President Trump. It was no surprise you came out vehemently for impeachment.
I ran
against
on it.
And then you ran on it.
Yeah.
Because in 2016, when he gave his speech to the Econ Club, you were one of the people who stood up and disrupted it.
You guys are crazy! You're an animal!
Have you had anyone come from your party and say, look, it's an election year, we need to tone down impeachment? Or have you, what kind of conversations have you had, and where are you with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, what's incredible is that this past election, if you look at the numbers, I mean, it was high. I mean, I had a 60% increase in my district of turnout in a non-presidential election year. It was a calling to say, we're electing the jury that will hold this administration accountable.